Micah Frankel for CageMinds.com. Today we have a special guest. Usually we're interviewing fighters. This time we got the man behind a promotion, Triple A MMA's J.R. Rodriguez, owner, runner of the business. Him and his right-hand man, Sal Mora, they do everything to put this together. They bring Bellator to New Mexico. They bring concerts to New Mexico. And then they started Triple A MMA twice here in New Mexico. They went out to Iowa. And now they're going to be venturing into Texas come January 16th. Fort Worth. A huge card. JR, thanks for the time.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
So, first off, we know you guys got the event coming up on January 16th, but in the year in total, what is the goal for the promotion? How many events are you guys looking at?
You know, the minimum goal that we're trying to reach this year is about 12 events, all throughout the U.S. Obviously, our home state is New Mexico, so we want to be able to put on more great AAA MMA shows here in New Mexico, but we're looking at going back out to Iowa. We're looking to definitely penetrate into Texas, which we already are, into the Fort Worth market, but there's other markets that we have targeted. So the ultimate goal for MMA this year is to have 12 events minimum, but we'd like to go up to 24. So we have a very big plans ahead of us. So.
Sounds 1 to 2 a month. Sounds like you guys are going to be busy putting on some great fights. If anyone's seen the shows that have already happened, we've seen great fights, hungry fighters with a chance to move up to those bigger companies. That's what you guys are all about, right? Yes. Getting the name out there and helping them out. Tell us about how you came to that idea of that's what you wanted to do.
Well, you know, I have to give all the credit to Sal. It was kind of a collaborative idea, but Sal Mora, our director of fight operations, really was the brainchild behind most of it. We were actually meeting with the Bellator crew when we were first, starting a partnership with them, and we were asking a lot of questions about how they would like to find fighters and how they currently do that. Obviously, matchmaking is an art, and they have great matchmakers in Sam Kaplan and Zach Light. However, you can't be everywhere at once, and these guys need to develop people coming up. We know of the other large sports, RFA rumored to be UFCs, so we just kind of sent it out to them and say, hey, how about letting us develop a brand and develop fighters for you and help you. Our biggest thing is we never lock our fighters into more than one fight deals, because we want to give them the opportunity to be able to grow and spread their wings with other organizations that can offer them a lot more than what we are. So we're the middle ground guys, and we're okay with that. We want to be the developers. We want to say that guy who now holds a belt came on through Triple A MMA. So that's our whole goal, is to develop the new talent coming up.
I've got to say it's refreshing to hear someone that's not out there to just be a competitor, because we know the UFC, Bellator, ONE FC, WSOF, there's a lot of people fighting for the same market and people trying to make it into that market from smaller. And it's nice to see someone that says, no, we get where we are. It's about the fighters, and it's about giving them a place to show that. But from where you guys came doing other events, doing concerts and stuff, how did the jump from Orthus go to Triple A MMA into getting into the combat sports genre?
That's a funny story. I'd have to send a big thank you to the city of Rio Rancho for that one. We have a great relationship out at the Santa Ana Star Center, and we did concerts with them, had other promotions going on, and we got a phone call one day that said, hey, would you be interested in a show called Bellator? And obviously, I'm familiar with Bellator. Always been a huge fan of MMA. However, was never a promoter of it by any means. So we asked a lot of questions. Said, well, what is it that the city of Rio Rancho, they're a city. They don't take very big risks. And we liked the opportunity. However, I didn't know enough about... I know all of the top level. I know the crust of MMA at the time anyways. So I specifically went out and searched for someone who could fill that void, who could bring in knowledge and relationships and all of those things of what it takes to bring a successful MMA show. And that's when I found Sal. And Sal's been a great addition to the team. He brings on a ton of experience, wealth, knowledge, not wealth, but a wealth of knowledge. That's kind of how it all came about in a nutshell. It kind of fell into our lap, but what we do here at Orthus is we take everything extremely serious. We do our background, and we go full force.
Watching then Bellator, seeing guys like Josh Lanier, Angelo Sanchez, seeing them getting that shot in Bellator from the Triple A MMA right off the bat. What kind of feeling was that to you guys, and push in the right direction that there was a payoff so quickly into it too?
Well, for us, the payoff was to seeing the smile on the fighters' faces. A lot of these guys, from what we hear, Angelo Sanchez, definitely had his time in the spotlight, not only on Bellator but with King of the Cage. I consider King of the Cage to still be one of the top contending promotions out there. They've brought a lot of, they kind of done what we've done, is they brought a lot of big people up through the ranks and who have now gone on to wildly successful careers. So for me, it was satisfaction of actually delivering of what we promised. It's one thing to go out and say, hey, we'll offer you this and we can get you this and we can get you that. But the beauty is seeing the realization of what we've actually talked about come into fruition with these guys. So, we're just happy that it's a promotion that we get good remarks from everyone that's ever worked with us. If you fought for our promotion, you know how we treat you. We treat you good. We do everything that we say, and we try to live by our promises. So I think, ultimately, in any business, if you can live up to the promises you've made to your clientele, I think you're doing a good job.
Now, we talked about other promotions have said they're feeders. They do have a championship kind of in their essence. Usually the guys get bolstered up from that position. Have you guys contemplated a time where you might hand out a title or do something like that, even though the goal is moving them on?
It's actually been in discussion since we very first started it. It's been a heated debate between all of our teammates and some outside consultants that we have as well. And we want to get to that point. However, this being our fourth promotion, Triple A MMA Caged Hostility 4, it's kind of it's a little too new to sit out there and go, hey, you deserve a belt. I mean, I don't think that we've deserved the right to put a belt up yet. Although we have top-notch talent coming through our organization, I just feel like we need to build ourselves before we go out there and offer something with such prestige behind it. And with belts, you kind of have to lock your fighters in. You have to get more than one contract out of them. If we do a belt, we're going to want to see that fighter come back 2 or 3 times before he actually fights for the belt, which kind of goes against the grain of what we've always said at the beginning is we don't want to lock a fighter in for more than one contract. We want to give them the opportunity to spread their wings with other organizations.
So talking about venturing out in other organizations, we've talked about Texas. Are there some other territories, states specifically, that you are really targeting for this upcoming 2014 that you guys are like, we are attempting to go here, have shows, it's the other markets, because starting out in New Mexico and then Texas, we're right neighboring states, but Iowa, you got a little distance in between us you could cover to have everyone know your product right there. Well,
I'll tell you what, right now, our name is getting known all over the place. We get fighters hit us up from every single state almost so far. So we kind of have a good opportunity to go just about everywhere we want. Now, however, it does take time to get licensed with each individual state. So we do have plans. I will say that we would love to tackle our neighboring states first and foremost. And, we do everything strategically and planned out. So I would say if we were going to tackle anything, we'd hit the Southwest region first, which would be Colorado, Arizona, Nevada, possibly all the way out to California, which we've already had talks with a couple venues out there. We tackle our neighbors first and then move out further than that. Iowa was a stretch. We had some great relationships over there, so that's why we moved so quickly into Iowa. We've had discussions about Minnesota as well. So, I think 2014, you might be surprised to see some of the places that we go. But right now, we're focused on Texas.
So talking about that nationwide acknowledgement, camps calling you, fighters calling you from everywhere, what do you guys owe or think really attributed to that success?
Well, we've done a lot of marketing lately. We hired a professional marketing firm to come in and really push our social media out. And just recently, we hired Melissa Ingram, who's very well known in the PR department throughout the MMA circles, and she's really made a boost. I just will say that word of mouth travels faster than just about anything else, and fighters come from everywhere. I mean, we got transplant fighters here in New Mexico that have roots. We have, a dozen fighters that have roots all over the whole country, even more than that. But I mean, just to say, those fighters call up and say, hey, I heard you had a fight. How'd the promotion go? Well, word travels. Just if you do a bad promotion, everyone's going to know. Don't fight for those guys. They don't treat you good. Same thing is when you do a good promotion. So we work every day to make sure that our name is crystal clear when it comes to these fighters talking about us.
keeping the name in good standings, keeping the business in good standings,
Absolutely.
and then looking towards the future. Well, the future's coming pretty quick. We got a huge event coming up that's stacked with 3 huge fights, a women's featured fight, a co-main event, and a main event. Tell us what's going on in January, on January 16th in Texas.
Yeah, Fort Worth Stockyards, historical Fort Worth Stockyards, been around since the 1800s. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I heard this, it's where Elvis Presley performed his first concert, is at the Cowtown Coliseum in Fort Worth, Texas. So we're very blessed to be doing our show there. Our main event, Chas Skelly, 11-0 out of Team Takedown. He's a teammate of Jared Rosholt, who just fought in the UFC. He's also a teammate of a guy, maybe you guys have heard of him. His name is Johnny Hendricks. Not sure if you guys have heard of him or not, but very, very solid team out there. I mean, their facility, top notch, one of the best we've seen in the world. They take care of their fighters and they train hard. So, Chas Skelly, 11-0 again, is going to be fighting Richard Villa out of Roswell, which is a place where I originally grew up in. Richard definitely lives the life of the spoiler. He's beat Drew Fickett. He just recently beat Benitez, who's, fast track to be UFC in Mexico. So he plays the spoiler role really well. So we're really excited for that matchup. I think it's going to be sparks. Our co-main event could easily be our main event. Charles Byrd, who fights out of Saxons, out of Texas, out of Dallas, Texas. I think he's slated to be one of the next up in the UFC. And he's going to be fighting Mike Bronzolis. For those of you who don't know, Mike Bronzolis was the finalist on the Fight Master on Spike TV. He actually fought Joe Riggs for the actual title. Lost to Joe Riggs, but super hungry. Guy's a really, really good guy. And he's been slated to fight Charles twice before. So, and both fights fell through for one reason or the other. This is we plan on getting this fight off the ground. So I'll tell you, the buzz around the Texas area, the Fort Worth, Dallas area is they cannot wait for this matchup. And in our women's featured bout, Haley Hack, who's out of Dallas, Texas, brings a big following out there, is going to be fighting Albuquerque's own Lene Lobato, out of Lobato Total Fitness. And Lene is looking to come on with a vengeance. I've seen her lately. She looks ready. She looks in shape, and she looks hungry. So I think the women's bout is going to be, I can't wait to see that one. It's just going to be fireworks everywhere for that one.
So we got from veterans that people will know from seeing them in Bellator, on Spike TV, seeing them in Legacy. And then also I know that there's people making their professional debuts on the card. There's people looking for their first victories. There's a lot of upcoming talent. So to your team, how great of a job do they do putting together a good mix of veterans and upcomers, and also doing something that's going to get that community involved like it is now with 3 guys right there at the top of the card that are Texas born and bred?
Well, this goes a little bit against the grain of what Triple A MMA does. What we really like to do is we like to bring the amateurs up and really start from the amateur ranks and find the next people coming up, because these are the guys of tomorrow. These are the guys who are going to be making their professional debuts. These are the guys who are going to be 3-0 by the end of the year. But in Texas, you can't do a Pro-Am event. So this is our first all-pro card, which we're very pleased to announce. 10 fights. And you're right, we do have some debuters, and that's really what we do, is we have them all the way from the top of the food chain, like Chas Skelly and Richard Villa, all the way down to our debuters, who we have guys 0-0 facing each other coming out. One of them, Steven Cervantes, out of Lovato's Total Fitness, making his debut. The guys beating notables like Fallon Ring. Fallon is a submission specialist, and Steven was able to maneuver through all that and still get the victory. And he's been hungry, been real hungry to make his debut, and we thought no better place than to take him out of town and see what he's made of. So he's going to be fighting a gentleman by the name of Young Yu, making his professional debut out of Texas. And, we have him 2-0, 0-0, 11-0. We, like you said earlier, we have them all the way up stacked. So, again, our true purpose for Triple A MMA is development, and I think that's what we're doing. We're not trying to put everyone with a record on our card. We're trying to start them off slow and build them all the way up.
I want to go back real quick to Steven Cervantes. What's it like for you? Because I was there at North versus South cage side. So he's a product that had an amateur fight, has had amateur fights with you guys before. Now he's making that pro debut. So as him, as one of those models with a couple other guys from around here, what's it like to see them and to see your envision working, them taking those steps from the amateurs to the pro ranks and progressing?
Oh, it's fantastic. Especially for a fighter to want to come back to our organization and say, hey, you guys have treated me well. I love fighting for you guys. When can I fight again? And Steven was very adamant about making his debut on our card. So, you know, we love the loyalty that they bring, although we want them to take every opportunity they can and not just wait for us to put on a card. But, you know, for Steven to wait for that opportunity for us to give him a pro bout, I think is fantastic. It shows that our plan is working. I guess another product of that would be Steve Garcia Jr. You know, Steve Garcia made his pro debut on our very first ever Triple A MMA back in April of 2013, and he followed his pro career onto Bellator with us, and now he's fighting again for Triple A MMA out in Texas. And you know, this was a fight he really wanted. He's got a ton of family in Dallas and wanted to fight in front of his hometown. And, you know, he came to us and said, I want to fight. And we went to Bellator and said, well, he's already in. He's got a contract with you, but he wants to fight for hometown. So, you know, Steve is stepping up to the plate again with Orthus Promotions. It's going to be his third pro fight. And all three of those fights are going to be under the Orthus Promotions flag. So we're extremely blessed. Another product of their pro debut all the way till now is Javier Palacios, who trains with Steve Garcia. He's going to be making his third pro fight under the Orthus Promotions. And again, this just shows that these people love to come to our organization, love the way that they're treated, and I think we do what we say. So in terms of what the Orthus team has put together, couldn't be more happy with the team that we have.
And then on to you as the promoter, going from the fan. You've already promoted concerts and stuff, but what was it like switching over from that to the mixed martial arts promoting aspect? What was that like for you and what you do?
You know, I've been blessed to be in many different types of businesses throughout my career. And what I really attribute everything to is just business. You know, we put the business cap on. There's little nuances and small intricacies that come with each business. Fortunately, we have a great group of, you know, like having Sal on board and knowing all of the back end and the history that I don't know, because there's a ton of history in this town. You know, it's a double-edged sword. I love not knowing the history because then I don't have to engage in the drama, I guess. Because there's drama in every business, and, you know, we welcome it. I mean, I think with drama comes success. You know, without confrontation, you would have no success. So I just think that, you know, attributing business first and foremost, I mean, that's what this is. It's a business, and we treat it as such. We think that the other MMA organizations in town and in other states that we butt up against, you know, we're willing to help them in any way. We think there's enough room for everyone to eat. We think the plate's pretty big. And, you know, there's a ton of fighters. The sport's growing more every day. There's more fighters in the stables than ever before. So, you know, I just think that there's plenty of room for all of our organizations to do well collectively.
I'm sure you look back at 2013 with all the huge successes, and you're very happy on that. But what will make 2014 an even bigger success for Triple A MMA?
You know, I guess one of our biggest goals is to get a TV deal, I guess. You know, I guess that's everybody's big deal, you know. And there's probably 300 plus organizations throughout the U.S. probably having the same goal as we do. But we fight hard for that goal every day. One of the ways that we think we set ourselves apart is knowing our role, accepting our role, but still putting on the next level of fighters. You know, I have no doubt in my mind that Chaz Skelly is going to move on to a huge organization, whether that be Bellator, UFC, WSOF. He's got a great career. Charles Bird has a great career. And the beauty is when these guys go on and get a belt, we're going to pull out our old little poster of Triple A MMA, and we're going to say, hey, there's another product of Triple A MMA. Not that we're the only ones. You know, Legacy does it out there, Jackson's MMA series, King of the Cage. I mean, there's a slew of other great organizations that bring these guys up. But, you know, for us to be able to put our name in that mix of these great organizations that have been around forever and say, hey, you know, we're also a developmental league for these fantastic fighters coming up. You know, at the end of the day, that's the most satisfaction for us. But if we got a TV deal to showcase someone, I think we'd be that much happier.
Probably could keep you here all day, but I'm sure you got work to do. Got to thank you for the time, JR.
Thank you.
Everyone, AAAMMA.com. Check it out. They're growing. They should be in a city near you soon.
Absolutely.
So check it out. CageMinds.com. Thanks for watching.